To make these cute earrings, you will need to create first a few crochet hearts, and to do that you will need the thinnest yarn you can find, or well, not the thinnest, but I was using embroidery thread. It's very inexpensive and very good for this project. So first I'm starting off with the magic circle, and then I'm going to crochet 4 single crochets into the magic circle. Once I do that, I'm going to tighten that tail, and then I'm going to go into the first single crochet that was in that magic circle, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go into that first same stitch, and I'm going to make another single crochet. So this row is going to be 2 single crochets in each space. So we're going to end up with 8 in total. If you desire, so you can count how many stitches you have, but it's not really that big of a deal. But if you want the sides of the hearts to be identical, so the sides of the heart are even, but it's not that necessary. I like when they're uneven, and I think it gives them extra dimension and that kind of like raw look. So then after this, you're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet of this row, and you're going to chain 1 and do a whole row of single crochet. So each chain space is going to have 1 single crochet. I mean, you're going to repeat it for the next row. If you desire, so you can actually work continuously. You don't have to work in rows, but I find it a lot easier if you want to create a symmetrical heart. Because if you start doing it in continuously in circle, it can happen that these little 2 caps, the tops of the hearts, are not going to be the same. And I repeat, I like it that way, but sometimes it's nice to have a symmetrical heart. So at this point, with 3 rows, this is what you will have, and you can stop here or you can do 1 more row. I decided to go with 1 more row because I wanted the hearts to be deeper and to have more body. So this 4th row is going to be again just a row of single crochets. And when you reach the end of the row, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain of that same row. And here we are going to cut our working yarn, but we're going to leave a longer tail because we will need it to connect the parts of the heart. I was having issues with my needle, and that's quite normal to happen if the needle is not good quality when this one is not. And here I have reached the end of the row, so you will just slip stitch, and you're not going to chain 1 in this at this point. So this is the depth of that top part of the heart that I want to have, and here I'm going to cut the working yarn, and I'm going to cut that first tail, and I'm going to pull that yarn through to secure it. So I'm going to leave this on the side while I make the second part of the heart, which is identical to this. For you, it's a split second, and here it is. And now we're going to connect the 2 parts and create the top part of the heart. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in such a way that there are 2 chain spaces, 2 stitches in between that tail of the first little cap that I made, and then I'm going to go into that second stitch from that tail. This will leave a little hole in between that we're going to stitch later, but for now I just slip stitched here, but I made a mistake and I did not chain one, and you're supposed to chain one. It's not going to affect the product. It's not going to affect the end result, but it might be easier for you to work. So you can either slip stitch and then chain one, or you can continue working as if it was a single stitch, single crochet. And now we're going to go in circle, and when we reach this point again, you will find another second stitch like what we did when we were putting them together. I hope that you understand what I mean. If not, just follow the tutorial exactly what I'm doing. And right here you can see from that tail I'm choosing again the second stitch, and I am slip stitching. And now I'm going to go and have other single crochets until the end of the row. So now I have connected the top parts of the heart with the little hole in between, and I'm going to stitch it later with the same yarn that I left, that little tail that we left. That's because of connecting them. Okay, so now that our top parts of the heart are connected, we're going to start the decrease row. And here what I'm showing you is where we're going to do the decrease on the sides, because that's where we need the most. And it's going to make it look neater. Also, do the decrease this way. So I'm just catching that front loop, not the whole stitch, just the front loop. And I am here slip stitching, but technically speaking, you would not slip stitch, you would just do a single crochet. Come to think of it, I made a lot of mistakes in this little heart, but eventually it turned out okay. This is a very forgiving task. It's a very forgiving project. I mean, it's tiny heart, and it's also it does not have to be super perfect. I mean, perfection does not exist. So this is that hole that I was talking about. And now we're going to close it. We're going to close it with this little tail. That's why we left it and we did not cut it off. So you can do this with a needle and thread. You don't have to do it with that tail. I just wanted to do it that way. It's easier for me. And I'm also too lazy to try to find needle. And then you are just going to practically you are only going to sew it, because this is really sewing. If you have a darning needle, use that. It might be easier for you, and you just need to pull that yarn through and secure it once you have closed that gap. And this is what it looks like. It's all closed up, and that's it. Now you can continue working on your heart. So apart from these little things that you need to do, like make one dome and then make another dome, and then again crocheting, putting them together, it's very easy to crochet a heart. I will make another tutorial that's going to be bigger than this one and probably easier to follow, and I'm going to make a pillow because I really want to have a heart-shaped pillow. And then once you do that, once you close that space, you're just going to continue working, and then eyeball it where you want to have the decrease stitch. I usually do it right in the middle of the side of the heart, because that way it looks better. And now I'm just going to continue doing it this way until I reach the last 3 or 4 rows. So for the next 2 or 3 rows, it's going to just be one decrease on the sides, on each of the sides. That means 2 decreases for each row. And then after that, we're going to start working practically all decreases, because we want to finish the heart and not make it too pointy, but make it a little bit rounded and chubby and cute. So again, here I'm showing you how I do the decrease. So catch just the front loops, pull it through, and single crochet. I'm saying that this is very easy to do, and trust me, it is. I am a total beginner when it comes to crochet. I mean, I used to do it years ago, but I wasn't very good at it. And then now when I picked it up, I somehow know how to do things. Magic. But if I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. It's always, to me at least, it's always nicer to have something that's handmade and to have something that's unique and that others don't have, as opposed to just buying stuff. I like to buy stuff. I'm not really a big fan of shopping, but from time to time I like to buy things. But I also love to have something that others don't, and this is the best way, I think, to do it. And on the plus side, it's something that you made. And if you have someone who is your friend who likes the same things, well, it's a bonus. You can make this as gifts. At this point, because that little hole is becoming smaller and smaller, I decided to stuff it with the pillow stuffing. And now I'm going to fluff it up and shape it and to see if it's full. And then I'm going to continue closing it up. As easy as that. So when you reach this point, it does not really matter how you're going to close in terms of how many decreases you're going to have, how many stitches. I was going with 2 decreases, 2 stitches, 2 regular single crochets, 2 decreases, and then 2 regular single crochets. Depending on the size of your yarn, depending on the size of the heart, and depending on the shape that you want, you will either do less decreases or fewer decreases, or you're going to do more of them. I wanted my heart to be short and chubby, and that's why I'm doing it this way. If you desire to make something like this, as I said, I am a beginner and I made them without actually following anybody's tutorials. I haven't even checked. And honestly, it was very easy. When you decipher in your head what parts you need, it is very easy to do it. Aside from that, aside from making earrings also for this, it can be made into keychain, into necklace, it can be a lot of things. And as I said, if you use bigger yarn, thicker yarn, and make it bigger, it can actually be a pillow. And when you finish it, you're just going to, again, you can take a needle because that's a lot easier than what I'm doing. And just you're going to hide that thread and cut out the excess. And you're going to make a few of these. Decide on the design of your earrings or whatever it is that you're making, and make as many as you need. So here I'm using some of the little metal pieces that are for earrings. I had them lying around and I hadn't used them before. And I'm going to tighten this with my little pliers. These are for earrings. And I've had them for forever. But later I decided to add a little bit of pearls. And here I'm struggling, and then I decided to do it off the camera, and I'm going to show you what exactly I did. So here I'm poking through the little heart. It's not with an arrow, but as you can see, I added a little pearl on top, and I think it looks adorable. And I'm going to make a little swirl of that bottom part of the metal piece, and I'm going to tighten it and flatten it a little bit to the side of the heart so it's not poking through. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the second heart and the third heart. So again, I am using little pearls to add some accents to this. And here I realized I need to disconnect. Yeah, it was a curve, learning curve. I've never made earrings before, so this was new to me. And one thing, you can actually use yarn or needle and thread to make earrings. You don't have to use these metal pieces. You can just take the darning needle or any other needle and a little bit of thread or a little bit of yarn, and you're going to do exactly the same what I'm doing here, just that you're not going to use metal. You will, however, for earrings need the metal pieces that go into the earrings, but again, it's totally up to you what you want this to be. And once everything is done, you're going to take the little hoops for the ears, and it is done. I hope you like this little tutorial. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching. Bye.